I especially have concerns about this particular Olympic Games for a simple reason that France is at its highest terrorism level. And we are already aware of two plots that have been thwarted and foiled that were aiming to target the Olympic Games. And in addition to that, of the various helpers, assistants, and security that are inevitable and are needed to run the games smoothly, the authorities have already denied 3,500 applicants that are already on extremism watch lists, on far left, far right groups, and even those connected to Islamic extremism who have attempted to secure security jobs at the Olympics. Now, we know full well that the criminals will always, and the terrorists especially, will look at the path of least resistance. And where they may not have secured a job within, say, a security position, they may then attempt to secure a position within, say, catering or steward or any other of the many, many different roles that are required to assist and support the Olympic Games running. And therefore, the world's eyes will be watching Paris, and especially those within the security community, to hope that they get this right. AI is something that can be used both as a threat, but also as a protective measure when applied in the best sense. And AI is certainly something that will play a very major role in the securing of the event in terms of protecting, but also analyzing any kind of threat data that could potentially be presented. One of the concerns that certainly Paris and especially France is concerned around the Olympics is the threat, obviously financially, against individuals who will be coming to watch the games. And financial fraud, whether that be emails offering tickets, special deals, hospitality, these are all the types of threats that will be related to the Paris Olympics that everybody needs to be concerned and suspicious for. Every time that I have been involved with an Olympics Games, and this has generally been in the security and protection of people that are going to the Games, and I've been involved in 3, I've seen the technology and the security improve and advance every single time. And what we're seeing in Paris is security at an almost greater level than we've ever seen before, in terms of the technology that is now available, whether it be the QR coding to getting into fan zones and spectator zones, or even into the stadia where some of these events are actually being held. The algorithms, the analysis and the assessment of data is almost at its optimum level that it needs to be to try and ensure that the criminals cannot find their way around this. However, this also plays a major part into the counterterrorism angle, and there are serious concerns about how criminals are going to find their way to circumvent the technology that is going to be applied in this particular event. In the run-up to the Paris Olympics, inevitably there's been some very considerable security planning, as this is not only a major event where the world's athletes will be participating, but also the world will be watching Paris and will be watching France in how they're going to handle the security at a time when they are at the highest security risk. And this is certainly in the wake of the most recent attack in Russia against the concert hall, and that there is a prevailing concern and threat from civil disturbance, protest and demonstrations that we've seen on the streets of Paris and elsewhere across France. And France knows that it needs to be on its game in terms of securing these Olympics, and particularly not only the international participants, but the international visitors who will be coming along to spectate. And as such, they will be throwing everything from physical to technical to psychological operations to ensure that they can protect the games and protect their international reputation in securing it. One of the concerns that Paris will have to consider inevitably within this planning, but also its implementation of security, is the fact that it is a busy international metropolis. And much like London had in the cases of many of the events being held across London, some of which were also held across other parts of the country. In France, a lot of these events will be held actually in Paris itself. And in addition to not only the international audience and spectators that will be coming to attend, the city needs to run as a busy financial and business and commercial center. And there will be other people that will be not only the inhabitants, but those visiting for other reasons than the Olympics. And it's essential that the French authorities get that fine balance to enable the business to continue and the city to continue to operate whilst these games are still taking place and people are moving from one venue to another. Of all the participating nations that will be attending, approximately 34 will be bringing their own security solutions and expertise to the table. And this is important not only to protect their own delegation of participants, but also their own citizens that will be traveling in to view and to support their own country. Now, this is not untypical. Most Olympics will enable that and afford that capability, but also it makes perfect sense because it ensures that a larger contingent of expertise can be brought to bear to ensure that this can be as safe as possible